to a show.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Mats Podcast. And it's your host, it's Dante, it's me. And this week on the podcast, this is not by intention, it just happens to work this way, that in comic books, anniversary episodes are usually 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, and so forth. And I noticed the last few episodes that have been like, 125, 225, 175, shit like that.
Yeah.
I've had the same guest. And I didn't notice it until, like last year or something. And I was like, well, I got 275 coming up. So let me go ahead and reach out to Mannuel. So welcome him back to the podcast, back for the very first time. My good friend and host of the Off the Saddle podcast, because it's coming back.
Yes, it is.
I know it's coming back. Mr. Mannuel C. What's up, Manuel? How you feeling, man?
What's up, Dante? I'm feeling good, brother. Honestly, I'm happy to be back. Kind of like wet my toes in the podcast world with you again. It's been a while since I've I stopped mine, and life happens and all that good stuff, right? And change happens. So it's been a journey. Let's go with that. Journey is a pretty safe word, right? So it's been a journey, and so like I'm excited to come back. As soon as you said like, hey, do you have time to jump in? I was super excited to do so. So yeah, man, thanks for having me again. I'm glad I get to fit any kind of anniversary, and if it's a comic anniversary, I'm super stoked about it.
Yeah, I always thought about that as a kid with comic books. 25 made sense, 50 made sense. In the 100s always made sense, 200 and stuff like that.
Right.
But the 75, those are the ones that I think they kind of look at like, it counts,
we'll just throw some of the B characters in this one.
Yeah, it's like instead of the Avengers, we'll have the West Coast Avengers fight this one, and then for issue 125, we'll bring the Great Lake Avengers. And
oh dang,
yeah, they're like, oh my god, what a shit show that is.
They're fighting the Mormons.
Like they're like, hey, we need you to come out and fight a very important like foe. It's like, oh, who is it? Is it Mephisto? Is it King? No, nothing like that. Like, I mean, remember, you guys are the Great Lake Avengers. You kind of fucking suck. We just got a couple hobos down here. We need to be brushed aside. Hey, okay.
And this new character, Dogman.
But no, thank you for making the time, man. I've been like, when I did the anniversary episode for 5 years, I think that's how it works. I was like, I need to get the podcast back in the space of like just being silly and having fun. Some of the conversations have been kind of interviewee and a little serious, and those are always good.
Yeah, that could be rad. That could be really rad.
Especially when you're talking to individuals that you really, really have an interest in, and you're like, oh, I would like to know more about this, and I want to know more about this individual. But then I was like, dude, I got to start like getting my friends back on this joint, because
I need someone not interesting. Like Mannuel.
It's like, Manuel's not interesting, but he's my friend.
Yeah,
so
you know what? That's half the battle, bro. It's half the battle.
Hey, look, it's points. It counts for something, I think. But I fall on that boat too, because it's like, well, Dante's not very interesting, but he is a friend, and at the very least, he might say something off the wall, and that's worth the entertainment points alone.
Bananas.
Yeah, it's like unannounced. Like I was sitting here. I got Monday Nitro on in the background.
Nice.
And what like Chris Benoit popped up on the screen, and it just fucking threw me off. And I was like, dude, what a killer! Like,
Careful now, careful.
And then like Eddie Guerrero's on there now, and I'm like, holy shit! Like they're just bringing out all the zombies. Like,
right?
Like, who else you got? Like, who else died?
Owen Hart from the Raptors. Oh, it's just
like now we got the Blue Blazer. Like, oh, there he's falling. Actually, that's not on the WWE network for a good reason.
I could imagine. But is
Um,
the botched tombstone neck break for Stone
yes,
Cold? Yeah, that's on.
it
Okay.
is there. It is there. They always talk about people on Reddit talk about like these things that are cut out. They're like, oh, like the Chris Benoit winning the world title is erased from history. No, it's not. I watched it 2 weeks ago. Like he won it
It's conversation.
and it was cool.
It's whatever helps get that YouTube rating up so you get more clicks. So that's all it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing they did cut out was when his after he won the title, his family comes into the ring
Mm.
and they celebrate with him. They cut that out. But like all his matches are still on the WWE yeah, on Peacock or whatever it is. So, you know, I'm not I was a fan, but it's one of those things was like I understand he's a horrible human. He killed his fucking family. So I don't celebrate the dude by any means, but
No.
you know,
Yeah, it's understandable. I think you have to like cross that bridge for yourself. It's the matches where involve more than one person. It in itself is a giant corporation that it's entertaining to watch. It's kind of like I listen to an R. Kelly song. I'm not going to skip it just because he pees on people, right? But like, there's more than just him. It's like a whole producer and a whole like people who
yeah.
wrote. It's just a lot going on. And at the end of it, it's just a song. I'm how much are you really supporting if it's already streaming? Right?
Yeah. Well, I realized, this is kind of going back to before streaming, but like the iPod days and MP3 days, I
Oh,
don't own a single R. Kelly song at
oh,
all.
nice.
He just never hit my radar at all. Like growing up, the 12 play album that was big,
The
Honey
one I
Love and
had, no, I had like Remix to Ignition. That's like the one I actually remember purchasing on iTunes.
so it's funny because everybody always asks was like, what, not even Ignition? And I was like, I don't even know that fucking song.
Oh man,
Like,
it's the one where Chappelle made fun of him.
yes.
It's that same song. It's like,
It's
which
like, and that's the closest I've gotten to that song. Is
oh
is
wow,
Dave
that's great.
Chappelle like spoofing them?
And I'm not sure if this was on that this came out on television, but Chappelle show. I remember vividly that Chappelle was like, if you had like the DVD, because back then it was streaming, right? It was a DVD.
Mhm.
If you had the DVD, you could get the jokes in between the skits,
Yeah.
and he's like talking to the crowd, and he's all real talk. I actually I was talking to him, and he was upset that I made this video about him peeing on people, and I'm like, dude, why did you make the video of you peeing on people? So I
Yeah.
always thought that was classic.
I mean, I don't know. It's like whenever someone does something, it's like everyone's like, "Oh, we got to cancel this person." It's like, look, man, again, I don't fucks with the person. To be honest, a lot of celebrities I don't fuck with. Like, I still listen to Kanye, but he ain't invited to Thanksgiving.
Right.
I don't
I
want to
think
sit down with him.
I think that's calmed down a lot. I think it's kind of like you know, and I'm pro LGBTQ like rights and all that. I'm
Yeah,
all about it. Like go be you, go do you. I love it. Go for it. If someone's gonna be a dick just because of some difference, whatever it is, because you're a nerd, because comic nerd like me growing up, or I was overweight, so there's that, right? Whatever it is, you like guys instead of girls, whatever it is. I think it's a dick move. It's not a dick move. It's an asshole move,
yeah,
and yeah, whatever, right? So I'm not against it, but it was swinging pretty hard. Where like you sneezed and it sounded like offensive, and all of a sudden you got like canceled, and it's dangerous when it becomes that the line's that thin.
yeah. Well, they're still kind of playing these little. Well, they're trying. I don't want to say it's still going on, but they're trying. Where like they'll take an artist or anyone, an actor, someone, and they'll look at something they did back in the '80s, and then they try to crucify them for the stuff today. It's like,
Oh,
well, I'm not gonna hold, you know, George Jefferson
yeah.
to today's standards because
No, you
you
can't.
know that was just the shit they did. I mean, fuck, you watch All in the Family, that was just how they talked. So and the thing is, if that's how you feel, don't watch it. Well, like, you don't have to watch it. We're in 2025. You don't need to go back and watch Archie Bunker. You don't need to go back and watch
Yeah.
the Jeffersons.
There's a good reason why that happened in the past and is not happening now. Right.
Correct.
Like it's you couldn't have cut it any other way. It doesn't even make sense to be upset about something that was like, could you look at that and be like, holy crap, socially acceptable in the 80s was wild. Just like, I'm not sure if you ever seen like rated PG movies from like the 70s or something, like Barbarella, rated
Yeah.
G, I think. And it's like topless. It's just, so you're just like, you could be a kid, rent that VHS at the Sunkist Library in La Fuente with all your friends. Not that this happened, but and then you get to see boobs on a rated G movie because they don't know.
Dude, I briefly, I put on Goonies for my kid because I call her Goon. I call her my little Goonie. Not because of the movie. There's like a picture when she was a kid where she's standing on the playground and like a tank top with her fist clenched. I was like, yo, you look like a playground goon. Like, you're just out there beating up the kids.
They're regulating.
Meanwhile, she's the softest one out there. But she had the luck. But I was like, I call her Goonie. And then I was like, yo, let's put on the Goonies. Yo, the number of times they drop the F bomb, and I don't mean fuck, is staggering. I was like,
wild.
I couldn't understand it. I was like, yeah, let's not do this. And she didn't get it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's wild. It's like and honestly at the time it's almost like there was things that they were censoring back then which were like completely unacceptable. Right? It wasn't like it was Wild West. It was not that. They just had a different set of codes that they said, this is what kids can't say, or don't let kids hear this. So every like generation, I think, sets their own rules or their own bar. And it's kind of fun. The older you get, the more you see that just change. And you're like, okay, that's what are my great grandkids going to be, offended about? We'll find out.
Well, yeah. I mean,
well, actually, I know because I have a 19 and a 15-year-old. So their big joke right now, which they joke, but with a level of sarcasm, like it almost sounds sincere. They might be honest about this. They're very anti-clankers, which is like robots or half robot people. It's like that's the future. That's gonna be like the thing. What about half robot people?
I'm with them on that. Fuck them cyborgs.
Fuck them cyborgs. Man.
You're not even a whole man. Or like what was that? Stone Temple Pilots. I was like, I'm half the man I used to be. Actually, just listened to that the other day. But yeah, it's crazy thinking, like when James Gunn got in trouble for some old tweets. I remember when I heard that, I was like, oh, yo, I hope they don't go back to my Facebook. Like that, because those memories come up and I'm like, oh my God, someone should have took my phone.
Dude, imagine if they had for me, if they had my MySpace. Oh my Lord.
Oh, my MySpace was a fucking nightmare. And when you could rank your friends, I would let people know where they stood in life. My wife wasn't even at number 1. She was like number 3.
Oh, you couldn't fuck with that, dude. You couldn't fuck with it. Like, oh, what? Oh, really, asshole? You don't want to go to the bar? Out of the 8, you're done. You're done. You're done.
Oh, and what was even better is when they extended it so you could do like top 10, I think you do like top 16. I made it less.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna say that. I flipped it when they added more. I'm like, I'm gonna go to like top 3. Fuck them.
Yeah, I was like, I dropped it to 5. I was like, okay, if you're not in the top 5,
you gotta be super special.
And then like I had a coworker. We were real cool. I was like, okay, they get to move up. They're number 4 right now. My wife was still number 3.
Oh damn.
And then when my buddy Charles got on, he immediately became number 1. I was like, yo, that's my dude.
Yeah, he skipped it all.
Yeah, he got the jump. He jumped in immediately to number 1.
It shows people where they're at. I think that doesn't happen as much anymore. I think people, with their online presence, it's so the kids are flipping it now. So before it was like show as much about yourself as you can, and in a very like narcissistic way, because
Mm-hmm.
your profile on MySpace was about you, right?
Oh
It
yeah,
was you. It was you. It was your song, your
like it
background, your
defined
style, your
you.
colors. Yeah, it was like your online presence in WordPress or something, right? One HTML code at a time. And now, like my kids, they have like 10 different accounts, none of which have any photos, all of which have followings. And I'm like, I don't even get it. Oh, it's just different conversations with different people. But you
Dude,
have a profile, like no, just no photo or some dumb photo. The name doesn't even make sense. It's just like Fart Cricket. It's like,
dude, I will. So I have multiple accounts myself, and what's wild is I will have with like two specific people actually. I will have different conversations on all of the accounts with the same two people, different topics altogether. All
all
to, and
right, that's interesting.
it does not even make sense, and we joke about it all the time because like and we're texting too.
And
So
the text is a different like style
yeah,
conversation. It's like
yeah, the
different.
text is like it's a whole different, it's a different accent and everything. Like it's like I'm like the typing is different, like it's spell check involved. But then we get into that so you're like horror chat and we're talking about not even horror movies, you
Well,
know?
and there's probably the trippy part, right? Like that's the trippy part where like you would think it'd be like, oh, this is the jujitsu one, so you can talk about jujitsu. Nope, it's I don't know
No.
the home improvement, and then you go horror. Well, okay, this one's going to be horror, and they're like, nope, favorite ice cream.
Yeah, that's exactly what like we're talking about comic book movies in the horror pod. We're talking about like gardening in the jiu-jitsu pod, a jiu-jitsu page. And then on the off the mats page, we're talking about like mental health.
Oh
And
wow.
then on the Colompton page, we're talking about street fights. And
Oh,
it's just
of
like,
course, of course. At least that one's kind of true to its nature, right?
yeah, yeah, that stayed in its lane.
Yeah,
But like the others is like, what? Like, oh,
true.
and then the text is just like, yo, so what are you doing this weekend? Like, how you like you doing anything? It's like, yo,
Dude.
it's I get it.
I don't know about. I'm pretty sure in the same boat, but all of my texting and all of my most of my communication in the last like month has been fantasy football, and it's been.
Yeah,
I know you have. I know you're a commissioner in one of your leagues, and I am as well. And
very loosely.
I don't like it anymore. I'm almost over
You
it
know?
now. I'm almost over it, bro. I
Yeah.
just don't like, and then it's like I never felt like I was dating more than when I was became a commissioner. Because you're like, hey man, call me back. It's like, hey, do you really want to be with me? It's like, what the fuck? I shouldn't be asking you if you want to be in this fucking league or not. Like, either you are or you're not. But if you say you are and then you're not, you totally mess us all up for like the next few months. So it's kind of important to have a commitment on it, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's not it's an unforgiving little job of it or whatever you call it, right? Like, oh no, it's crap, but I love it.
It it's one of those weird things. Like, so I ended up being commissioner of a league 12 years ago because Steve was running a league, and one of the other managers and we got into a physical altercation at work,
Uh-oh.
and I squashed it. I was like, I don't have no
So
static
wait,
with this dude. Like,
squashed it like Neon Belly?
he wishes. Like that would have been a lot easier for his life. Um, but no, I was just like, I'm done. I don't have no static. I'm over it because the whole thing is we're going to do the draft in person,
Okay, yeah.
and he was going to be there, and I was invited. I don't tend to go to in person things because humanity. I don't fucks with it. So, but for that, I was like, look, I don't come out enough. So yeah, sure. And then Steve messaged me. He was like, well, look, they because it was going to be at someone else's house. They're like, look, they would really prefer that you guys don't show up just because they don't want there to be a problem.
Wow.
So they booted me from the league. They booted both of us from the league.
Damn.
And Steve was like, well, look,
See,
if you
you
if you
see,
make your
it is like dating, like adolescent dating at that. We can't be friends anymore because you broke up with Billy.
well, the crazy thing is though, so I told him like, look, I promise. And this was still the unhinged Dante days, so I get where they're coming from. You just don't know.
Okay.
But I'm in my mind, I was certain, like, look, I'll be on my best behavior. But the thing is, the dude has a way of being like, he drinks a lot. So then in that drinking, he starts to get a little lippy. So that I think that's what they're kind of banking on too, is that if he gets lippy, how much of Dante's, like, can he control himself? Which I'm optimistic that I would have been fine. But either way, they booted us from the league. And Steve said to me, he was like, look, if you make your own league, several of us will join your league, to kind of fill those numbers. So I was like, all right, bet.
That's cool.
So, what is this, 2013? And this was like days before the draft. So I had to like scramble and get 12 people together, in like a 2-day window, 3-day window. But once we got it rolling, it was like, okay, cool. And each year that we've done this, I've actually tried to quit each time. I'm just like, hey, I don't want to come back and do this anymore. And then I get texts from like, the one guy, Chris, and his wife. They're like, hey, are you doing the league again this year? Because we really liked it. I was like, I'm glad. Well, because like those first 2 or 3 seasons, I was very hands-on. We had a Facebook group. I would put updates in every week. I would take the Yahoo little
Nice.
reports and put them in there. I would do like who's the top score for the week, who was the top free agent, or like
Nice.
top scoring free agent. I was really, really hands on, and everybody was digging it. And then I think in that 3rd season, it started like people started kind of interacting less because I guess the things were changing in terms of like how you interacted online. So
Right.
I stopped doing that, and then just other hobbies started kind of kicking about, jiu-jitsu being a big one.
Yeah.
So each year it just turns into, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. But now one thing I will say about like the interaction with the other managers, they know I'm not with the shits. So they don't message me, they don't call me unless it is absolutely necessary, because I just don't care. Like if you ask me about a trade, hey, why did like someone made this wild ass trade? That seems unfair. And I'm just like, look, y'all are adults. Like I don't care. Figure it out. The only issue that really became a big thing is when homeboy from the Bills died in the middle of the game
Oh
and they
yeah.
stopped the game.
I was
And
on the in your league that one.
okay, yeah, that so I got messages from, I want to say, so I know in Steve's league it was a big issue too, because his brother Brett and the dude in our league, Chris, whose team's it has something to do with Trump, like fuck Trump, I think is the name of the team, something to that
Yeah,
effect.
I've seen him
But
around. Yeah, yeah.
those two were in the Super Bowl, and there was a real big there's like lasting like static for months between those two.
Wow.
And in my league, I can't remember who my Chris was up against, but I don't remember what the ruling was either. But he got really upset. He was like, look, because it's you, it's fine. But if it was anyone else, I was like, in that tone, I was like, I don't give a
Yeah.
fuck that you're doing
Right.
this, like you're doing me a favor. It's either you do it or you don't. But understand this, I control the money right now.
Mhm.
So you can get 0 or you can just fucking split it.
Right.
Like
That's what
which
we did. I was in a league where I was playing for third place. Obviously, first and second were playing as well, right? First and second were not affected, but both me and the other person that was in third place or potentially third place, right? We were both like right there, and that ended up being an issue because it just didn't happen.
yeah.
So what we decided on was, okay, well, we will split third place, and that's what it is. It's a weird thing. It's never happened, so whatever.
Yeah. Now I've made the point of saying, after the fact, it was like, look, if the shit happens again, whatever the points are is what the points are, because you got to think of it as an injury. They're like, well, the game ended though, so they didn't play the game. It's like you think of it as an injury. Everybody got injured, so
Damn.
like just leave it that way. Whatever the points were on the field is what the points are going to be. I'm not making any exceptions. I don't
I
care.
I feel like it could happen more now. I think it's gonna happen more, even when it doesn't have to happen. Maybe
More
because
cats dying on the field. That's
well,
wild.
I mean, hey, shit, fuck it. You got to get the ratings.
Part of the script.
Part of the script, man. It's a hell of a script. No, just recently, who was it that was playing a preseason game and they all just took a knee and stuff, and like, so someone got pretty badly hurt, and yeah, so like, but it turns out it wasn't as bad as they thought it was. But either way, they took a knee. The game ended. It was like a quarter. They just stopped the game right there.
That's, I mean, I guess for preseason, sure, but
I'm telling you, it's almost like a president. Like, it's almost like now you're an asshole if you don't stop the game because someone got severely hurt. It's like,
nah, fuck that.
I would be like, hey, if I die, I want you to keep playing.
Yeah.
Because I might die, but I might still win my football league.
Yeah, it's like, look, keep playing because we got people doing fantasy football. They need them points.
Mm-hmm. These losers, that's all they got.
They obviously need this more than we need this. So
you have no idea how much I need this.
I don't know. It's a weird thing. Just like the whole commissioner thing, it becomes very stressful, but also too, there is a level of don't give a fuck that will hit you eventually. And I think also too, with our guys and gals, there's not a lot of communication because everybody's so spread out.
Right.
And also too, they know that I don't care. Like, you will text me and I will respond, but understand with that response is really me saying I genuinely don't care about your grievance. Like, the biggest one was the Mar Hamlin dying in the game and everything getting shut down.
Right.
And even with that, it was still, I don't care. Like, you can be mad if you want, but understand this is the ruling. I'm not bending because, like, yeah, your guy, you probably would have won, know, but we don't know because there are no more points put on the board. Maybe dude shouldn't have died. How about that?
Yeah,
like, maybe they should have kept playing.
Him. If anything, he should be calling up whatever his name is, was it safety, whatever, from Buffalo, and then filing the grievance there. Hey man, you owe me $50 or whatever.
Ooh, I wonder if I could I might sue for emotional stress.
Right?
Because what's he gonna take?
Your death really was not cool. It happened at a bad time for me.
They'll settle out of court anyway.
Right.
They'll think it's so ridiculous to settle out of court. And I don't even want a lot. I want like $75.
Imagine that. Imagine you take a small claims for $75.
Dude, I got action figures coming out. I got to buy this week.
Oh my lord. No, I was at a bar and I was talking to some guys who were they were talking about their football league, and I was like overhearing them, right? And I think they caught on that I was listening, and they're like, "Oh, do you play?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And he's like, "Oh, well, we play this one league where it's you keep everyone basically, and the only draft is the new people."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like long term. It's been going on for I think 20 years. Yeah, that league's been going on for 20 years. They have all kinds of really old rules because a lot of their rules were made when there was no apps for it. So you basically, everything was on paper and you had to call someone and verify your change and stuff, right? So it was old school, right? So I was like, that's pretty rad, right? First of all, that's pretty cool. A 20, 25-year league, right? And then at the same time, they were saying stuff like, well, I'm a nut about this because every waking moment I'm studying and I'm thinking about 5 years down the line, this and this. And this other guy's like, I don't care, man. I'm just having a good time. It's not that serious. And I told him, I'm like, you know what, though? I'm going to tell you guys right now, if everyone was like you, and I pointed to that serious guy, I'm like, this league would suck. And if everything was like you, that I don't give a fuck about, this league would suck. It's when you mix the people that it kind of gets fun because someone gets annoyed, someone's too serious. The guy who didn't care got lucky and won, and they're like, what the fuck? That's what makes it fun. It's just that little bit of chance that's in the game that it really does make it fun. All the planning in the world, and someone dies on the field. So
We had a guy that first season that I ran my league. He was really upset that nobody wanted to trade.
Mm.
I'm not really one that I don't do a lot of trades. I might do a trade each year at best,
Yeah.
but he was offering out trades to everyone. Nobody wanted to trade, and he got really really upset. Like he put on the message board. He was just pissed because it was like where's the fun in that? And I was like, well, number one, I might really like my fucking team.
Right.
Number one. Number
Sorry, you
two,
drafted shitty.
yeah, like, but also you're offering garbage trades. I'm not taking that trade. Like, fuck out of my face. But
Yeah.
but yeah, the keeper leagues are interesting because I've never done one. I'd like to try one, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I don't really want to like because I think like a lot of them like you hold on to like X number of players, and
If I did
then
one, yeah, if I did one, you'd keep all your players. You keep everyone.
like
And it would be like you keep everyone, but there's like a 5-year limit or something. That's how I would do it. So it's like a contract. Like you basically have a contract, and then you got to put it back out there.
So the thing is, though, too, is like when you're bringing in new players, if you're keeping everyone, then it's like bringing in new players. You won't have the roster spots to do it, which is why when they say like you keep, I think a lot of them keep like 5 players, maybe 3 or 5 players. So that way now you have the open slots for your draft taken in.
I looked into this. The whole process, man. There's a whole process with that. You draft only the rookies, and then you put them on like there's like a practice squad too. So no, dude, it's deep. It's deep, bro. I'd be down, but I don't know. It would have to be like an 8-man league or something because I can't imagine 10 people really being down for that. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. It'd be hard to find 8 people that eat.
I mean, there are a lot of folks that do it all the time. I won't be one of them. It just like I focus year to year, and I barely do that. Like, yeah, I used to be like super like in June prepping.
Oh damn!
But like as soon as the draft is over, like what is the draft? April. Like I was obsessed with ESPN, watching Sports Center, watching all the mini camp stuff, all the information, all the details. I knew everyone. I also watch college football too, like a lot.
Yeah.
So
see, I don't watch any of that. So
I was way ahead of everything. But the thing is, it started becoming too much. Now, like honestly, I don't know nothing. Like when I did your draft, I did a few mock drafts just to kind of at least see where people were taking who. But I didn't have a plan. I was just like, look, I'm gonna look at the team. Like when it's my turn, I'm gonna look at what's there. What player do I like? Not even like, do I need this? It's like, who do I like here? Oh, Travis, or not Travis, Derrick Henry. I like that guy.
Yeah,
I'll grab him. Coming back, the Raiders rookie running back. I like that guy. I'll take him. Coming back down. Do I need a receiver? I could use a receiver. Yeah, I like that receiver. If I don't like the receiver, is there a quarterback? Like, is there something?
No, I kind of see what you're saying with that because my first year, which only was like 3 or 4 years ago, right? I did so much studying and this analyst and listen to that podcast and watch that show. I did all that and I found out that it did help. It did help, but it didn't help a lot. There's only so much it could kind of get you. It gets you in the door, but there's still a lot of choice involved and whatever, right? So this year I think like I still listen to a whole lot of podcasts, but that's because my ADHD brain, I do better if I'm hearing a podcast while I'm working on something different. So how much of it do I actually pick up? How much of it's just background noise? I don't know. But whatever. I'll hear like, oh, don't pick up this food. Oh, maybe that will help. I don't know, whatever. But I can actually, real quick, now that I can actually, because I've been playing for a few years, I can actually just go on based on me now. Like, I've seen the league for 3-4 years now. I kind of know who's who. So even if they change teams, like I already have an experience with these players. So I feel like that helps.
And that's what I was actually going to say is like, when you're first starting, a lot of that stuff is very helpful in a sense of like getting your foot in the door. Once you've played a few seasons, you now have your own personality profile. You know what you like and what's worked for you, what doesn't work. Like, for example, we can take Steve. Steve likes to draft rookies. He likes to get those first and second year players on his teams. And like watching him in his draft, Saturday night, sure enough, all the rookies. Well, not all the rookies, but everyone that was young.
Heavy on rookie, right?
Yeah. And then you have your own thing that you like to do. I honestly still don't really have like a thing per se. It's like, okay, old school, running back. But the problem is in the Bear Club League, we run 3 receivers.
Right.
So so it would be a little wiser to go receivers because you've got technically 4 spots for receivers, but then if you miss those running backs, now you're hurting.
Now you're in trouble. Yep.
So it gets weird. Like, I don't know. I just did a Yahoo draft today, like a 10-person Yahoo for funsies. And I looked at my team. I was like, damn. Like, actually, out of the 4 drafts that I did, I think your league might have been my lowest score.
Mm-hmm.
I think no. I got A- in yours. I think Steve's league, I got a B+.
Oh, dude, those scores are such bullshit. Like,
no, well, the scores are based on basically you following the rules. Is what the scores are based on.
Not even
following the ranks. So if
the
let's
cheat
say
code is get 2 or 3 quarterbacks, get 2 or 3 tight ends, and then a bunch of early on receivers and running backs, and your score will be an A.
Well, no, what they're telling you to do is like basically when you come up as like the number 8 pick, if you pick anyone between 8, 9, and 10, that's what they want you to see. If you go past that, now your score drops. And when we were doing Steve's draft, I was doing it on the computer. Mm-hmm. I noticed when you click over, you can look at all the teams, and it's actually you can predict what your grade's going to be.
Oh wow!
Because they have you already kind of ranked. Because the entire draft, I was at the very top.
Yeah.
Like me and our buddy Aaron, we were 1 and 2. But then as Aaron kept drafting, I saw him dropping further and further down. So then once our scores came up, I think I got a B+ and Aaron got a D-.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh, okay.
Terrible.
So now I get it. Oh my God. It was the worst. I couldn't make sense of his picks. And I was just like, but the fucked up thing is in the Bear Club League, he and I have been in the last 2 Super Bowls. So
damn.
That works.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's a fun waste of time, It's a fun waste of time. Yeah. I haven't had a lot of time to waste, so I'm excited about it this year. I haven't been doing jiu-jitsu. Actually, I haven't really. I kind of know I'm not going to do jiu-jitsu anymore, just based on like my personal, my neck, my back, my keep going with that song, But yeah, but like. So I was like, okay, I got to find another thing. It's like, I can't have any impact basically, like, or very, very little impact. Like I can't even really go out and run. Right. So I've been upping my walking, I was playing pickleball for a while, which was good. Right. I didn't really hurt myself too much doing that, which was really positive. But then I moved to San Bernardino and it's, I still had the outlet because I worked in Pasadena, and in California that the drive is like 2 hours, 3 hours. The distance is like 55 miles one way. So it's a good drive no matter what. So if I left work at 5 or 6 and I went straight home, it would be like 2 or 3 hours to get home. So I was like, I gotta find something to do so the traffic can die down. So what I was doing was I was basically just going to a park and playing pickleball, and it was super fun, right? Which bunch of old people and lesbians. So it was rad. So
my type of peoples.
Hey man, they were really rad. They treated me really nice too, man. So super cool group. And now I'm like, okay, I think I need to like get out there and do something because I've had to get creative about my own personal fitness. And it's just like, I kind of like mentally was like, okay, so what the fuck am I going to do? Like, I got to find a pickleball league or something. And I haven't done it yet. I was doing boxing for a while, but it got pretty expensive, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, okay, so what am I going to do? And I kind of came up with this dad workout thing. And it was just like, fuck it. I'm going to redo the fence. So whatever, I just start working on the fence, take it apart, buy a little bit of wood, redo it, and paint it and all that jazz. And like it, for I kid you not, basically like all of the summer, and I was just busy with one project after another. And part of my motivation for doing all these different projects, I built a shed, I, did some fences, I built, kind of made an opening for the gate for the front to the back, right? Um, it's just a bunch of shit, like I redid the garage, like things like that, right? So my motivation for that was like, hey, if I'm busy working on shit, then I'm not just sitting on my ass,
That's true.
because I got to find something to do, and I have to like it. And I've always liked working with my hands and shit, like just doing something, like I start something and something gets completed. I love that feeling. And my job is not that. My job is an endless email system of emails and emails and emails. So it's like the least gratifying job in the world. Cool. I mean, it pays the bill, and thank you, right? but it's just like, I do it to pay the bills. I don't do it like I wouldn't do that on a weekend for free, right?
Sure.
But like when I was younger and I was a bartender, I probably would do that for free. When I was a bicycle mechanic, I probably would do that for free. Even further, when I was working as a station engineer, I probably would do that for free. Some of that shit was fun, like the maintenance on shit, right? Like that was cool for me. So like the kind of like dad workout or the home improvement workout or whatever it's been, like it's kind of been my main motivation to stay fit. I add a little bit of walking, and I have like an elliptical that I kind of like, but that's hard for me. Like getting on an elliptical, getting on the treadmill is hard for me.
Like
So,
when you're on the treadmill, because I do the treadmill just about every day. Like, are you like, what's hard for you? Like, just get into it, like finding the motivation to get on the treadmill, or
going nowhere. See,
oh yeah,
I was a cyclist, so I mean,
gotcha.
I would go and ride a bike for 8 hours a day and just have a life experience. I went to the beach, I went to a mountain, I went here, I went there. Like I had such an easy time associating working out with doing stuff that
Mm,
working out for the sake of working out is really rough. It's really rough for me. There's no
true.
motivation for me to just stand next to a wall or just walk in place.
So I I was having a hard time for a while too. I used to watch UFC cards while on the treadmill.
Okay.
Um, and it seemed like, oh, that should work, and it didn't.
Uh,
It didn't work. Um, I just it for whatever reason it wasn't working for me. I would even like during like so let's say I'm watching UFC 100, and I'd get on the treadmill and I'd run during the rounds. At the end of the round, I stop, take that minute break,
okay.
round back up, get back on. And I was treating it like a
That's
fight
kind of fun.
the,
That's kind of fun.
the entire card. Um,
Damn.
and it was doing something for me, but my mental though, I was like losing my mind. What I ended up doing this past year, I want to say over the last year, is I've been watching TV shows. Um,
Okay.
First, I watched Lost because it's something I'm familiar with and I
Love
enjoyed.
it.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch Lost, and plus my daughter got into it because
Oh, love it.
just to put something on once in a while. She was younger too. I'd put on the pilot episode because it was safe, like
Mm-hmm.
our definition of safe at least. And
Yeah.
she one day was like, I want to watch more. I need to know like what's going on.
Right.
So I would go on the treadmill every day, watch 2 episodes. She would sit there and watch them. I'd run, and then I did that for the entire run of the series. And then
That's a lot
after
of
that,
miles, bro. That's a lot of miles.
yeah, I think it tracks on my phone. I think I also have like a chest strap because that was my whole thing too. I had to gamify it. It was like I wanted to keep track of my calories burned and what
Yeah.
was going on. And then I
I
went to
love that word. I love that word. I think that's kind of my thing I'm missing. I need to gamify it.
yeah, like it becomes tricky because I don't like to do anything if I can't track it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, can
Yeah,
you go
well,
shovel the snow?
a lot of runners and cyclists talk about like if it's not on Strava, it didn't happen. It's like a huge
Yep.
app for like outside cycling and shit like that, you know? And yeah, Strava or didn't happen is like the joke. And it's for me, it was totally true. Like even before Strava, which is like an app based, like, GPS kind of tracking your movement. So it tells you kind of how fast
Mhm.
you're going and stuff. Even before that, I remember like being the kind of nerd where like it mattered to me. I would write down my times on certain areas and stuff like that. I had like a non like Bluetooth, non real, just like a basically a stopwatch on my bike. And I would start a section and time it like, oh, I did it in this many seconds, or I did it in this many minutes, or whatever. Like
Like
that shit mattered to me.
I always even when I go to jiu-jitsu, I wear my chest strap and keep track
No,
of it
wait.
there.
I know you're like from like Baltimore, Detroit area, out
Mhm.
that way, right? So when you say that, you don't mean a gun, right?
Not a gun.
Oh,
No.
that's strap.
No. I like my teammates. Like I show up, they're like, yo, like, yeah, your shit ain't gonna work now, is it? Wrist lock me again.
Rear naked revolver.
Um, yeah, with the treadmill, I would just watch shows. I
Okay.
did Sopranos. Steve got me to watch Vikings. So
Oh
I
yeah,
watched Vikings. And
I
the
liked
only
it.
way I could watch Vikings was on the treadmill because if I sat in my room or sat on the couch to watch it, I'm going to go to my phone. But if I'm on the
Mm,
treadmill, I have no choice but to get engaged.
okay.
Um, now that I've just finished that, I started watching The Wire, which I know people love The Wire. It's not my cup of tea. I don't like cop
Oh wow.
drama. So now the street stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm here for this. But
Okay.
once they get into the cop stuff, I check out. But I did just do a So You Like Horror episode last night, and I was talking to the guests about 2027's theme being TV shows.
Okay.
So what I'm going to end up doing probably starting tomorrow because I think January's episode is going to be Haunting of Hill House. And I've
Oh,
seen it
love
multiple times,
yes, love that.
but I'm going to revisit it on the treadmill. And also, it's with these with a lot of these shows, they're usually one season, 10 episodes, so easy to get through, easy to jot down my notes and get back to it. So, starting probably tomorrow, if not tomorrow, then on Monday, when I have a fresh week, and then I tend to do 2 episodes when I'm on the treadmill, just depending on how long they are, because I'm just trying to get through this shit,
Dude,
and I'm
I,
enjoying it.
I'm gonna give you a random idea. Take it, leave it, whatever. Right?
Mm.
It would be cool if you did like a mini series on an episode by episode recording. So, like, instead of the normal longer podcast you're doing, if you found someone to do, like, let's say a new show is coming out, and then you just shot a 20-minute episode on that episode, or a 30-minute episode on that one episode, you kind of talk about it, what you think's happening, or whatever, shit like that, and
So,
just do like a sidebar almost. Like you still have your normal shows, but just like a mini.
so there was something that we had talked about doing for that, it kind of in that vein. It was going to be like little mini 10-minute shorts,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of discussing whatever, but it was going to be more about the culture, the horror culture,
Okay.
different things like gatekeeping, different elements of the horror genre, such as elevated horror, and just kind of having like these short discussions about it. And the intention was to keep it at 10 minutes because that was the challenge. We're going to
Yeah.
have this conversation,
Bite size.
and it's got to be 10 minutes. It can't go beyond. But the problem with doing that was just really time,
Mm-hmm.
because off the mats takes up a lot of time. Colompton doesn't take up a whole lot of time because we don't really have a plan for that, as much as like, hey, let's get together on Friday nights. Steve brings the beers. We talk about pop culture and then move on. I know he wants to do more video for it, and I don't like being on video.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him he could do it. Like, go for it. Knock yourself out. Um, but that's kind of stalled. Now that we got the new car, there's some other stuff in motion for off the mats. And so you like horror, there's an ideal similar to what you're just suggesting. But I have to make all this stuff plug and play. Like the podcast is plug and play right now. Like we're recording right now. If I needed to, I could put this out. Like I can put this out in the morning if I needed to.
I wonder if you were to commit with because obviously right now you have a setup. I have a setup, right? Mm-hmm. So it's obviously it's a process. You get up, you set the shit up, and all that crap, right? I wonder if there was like an app based just join and record from your phone, almost a phone call, that would allow you to record it, basically like a short phone call. And that would be it. And then you wouldn't even need to edit it very much because, like you said, 10 minutes, right? 15 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that would open the door for a very easy plug and play miniseries, as opposed to because there's no production value. You don't have to meet up like this. It would basically cost you, be like, oh yeah, you would have to set a meeting every week on a Thursday night or a Friday night or a Monday night or some shit like that, right? So that you met every night, and then you'd already have your episode watched by then, and you just talk about it for 10, 15 minutes, and then boom, you shoot it out.
So my buddy Maryland Phil I just put out an episode of So You Like Horror. It was a bonus episode where he and another friend talked about Predator, Killer of Killers. 30 minutes. They sent it over to me. And then they talked about the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth. 30 minutes, sent it over to me. I liked what they did. I combined the 2. I just did them kind of back to back because I didn't have anything for that last week of August and I didn't realize it. So I was like, perfect timing. I'll mesh them together back to back. But I liked what they did. And I'm like, I might have them kind of do this, kind of run a 30-minute thing every so often for me.
Right.
Run it as a bonus. But I do like the idea too of really opening it up to the listeners. Like, look, shoot, get me 10 minutes of your thoughts or your opinions on XYZ. And it goes out as a bonus content each week. I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna look into that. See if I can fuck around with some folks, make it happen. Because So You Like Horror, this last week, I'm not sure. Well, I know what happened. I put up a specific post and it went fucking ape shit.
Yeah.
Picked up fucking 3,000 followers.
Jesus.
I was like, close to 3,000. I'm coming up on 3 very soon. I was like, whoa. Every time I looked up, there was another 400 followers. It was like,
that's awesome.
Okay. This is wild, but
plenty of great episodes to follow, guys. So if you haven't been listening to So You Like Horror, good shit there.
Yeah, that Alien Earth and that Predator, Killer of Killers, it's not my style. You know me, I like to talk a lot of shit. But they did it very, very clean cut, very straightforward, and I really enjoyed it. And I like to think that the listeners enjoyed it. I actually haven't looked at the numbers yet because I just did our Blair Witch episode last night, so I gotta. But that's the typical Dante style where there's a lot of shit talking, so I have to really edit it because there's a certain point where I don't think we're talking about the movie anymore. I was like, okay, and this was in the middle. I was like, okay, we gotta dial it back. So, but yeah, I like that idea, and I must see if I can, because I get a lot of interaction on the Instagram page. The problem with having all these accounts is people will message. I don't reply to messages like on comments and stuff, just because I don't have time to. I saw one young lady from Australia. She had thousands of messages and she was responding to all of them. I was like, God bless you.
Oh Lord.
I don't even respond to 10.
Yeah.
But
I'm
gonna see what I can do with So You Like Horror, because that audience is a little bit more forgiving than the BJJ Wiki audience.
Right.
Sometimes those comments be war zones. I'm just like, nah. Like y'all fight that battle. But so like horror, people are very, very cool. Like there's always jokes, there's always good spirit about it. Uh Colompton got a little toxic at one point. Then I
I
just
can
shut it down.
imagine.
I was like, we're not doing this. Just people stopped commenting. I was like, I don't have to talk to you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that ideal, and I'm gonna toy around with them, jot some notes and see what we can make happen from that. Because the thing is with content, I always say, like you're saying, if you're not doing something, you're just sitting around.
Right.
And for me, I have to be doing something. Like, and the funny thing is, if you watch me on any given day, I am really just sitting around. But that sitting around really does involve me writing down like notes and brainstorming stuff. And
It's not the
then,
same. It's not the same, dude. Like sitting around like watching TV mindlessly is one thing, but just because I have come out and so you like horror and I was watching a movie which I could have been watching mindlessly, but when you know you gotta talk about it, like you're like watching it through a different lens. You know,
Mhm.
you're paying attention a little bit more. You're paying attention a little bit different, and I think that's like it's a good brain exercise. Like it's a good exercise in itself. Like you're thinking about it as opposed to just experiencing it, and
Yeah,
it makes the experience of watching a movie when you know you're going to talk about it. It makes it different. So I don't
yeah.
think it's the same thing at all. I get that you're just sitting down, jotting notes, thinking of something to write, but that is a much more positive kind of like exercise for your brain than just sitting there.
Yeah, like I I always get kind of like comments and kind of joking, like, dude, like, you're always doing so much. You're always doing so much. And like to me, it's like if I'm not doing anything, like I always say, if I stop doing jujitsu, what would fill that place?
Mm.
It would be me playing video games again and not doing anything physical. So sticking with jujitsu keeps me active. It makes me like, because if I'm not doing jujitsu, I'm probably not getting on the treadmill every day. I'm not lifting weights every day. I'm
Yeah,
sitting around. So I do like the jujitsu kind of makes me do the other things because if I don't, I'm going to get hurt.
right.
And then when I'm not doing those things, it's like, well, what else are you doing? I collect action figures. So, I'm looking at shit for that. I'm not going to do reviews, but I am probably going to do some dioramas real soon. I
Mhm.
have two ideals. I was like, oh, just add another fucking hobby to the table. Um, I'm still collecting comic books and reading, and then a lot of my comics are horror now. So I think we're gonna kind of slide that into so you like horror. Maybe
Okay.
that falls into the 10-minute conversation thing with some of these books I got. But I'm always trying to do something. I'm always trying to do things because at the end of the day, I just don't want to be the dude sit here scrolling mindlessly on my phone. It's like
Yeah. And
it's
I
like
find myself there. I find myself there. So I got to get out
mhm.
of it. I got to get, you know what? I think maybe I need to like, you know what, practice what I preach or, maybe drink my own Kool-Aid. I think for my podcast, maybe a short style will work. Maybe it's just about getting my foot wet again, like with my
Yeah.
own again. And just, I had planned something a couple of times. It kind of fell through. So maybe it just needs to be a little more impromptu. Like, why
Like
not?
where you at right now, like just in the status of podding.
I have not done a podcast in a while. I I don't even remember why I stopped, bro. You know what? No, I do remember why I stopped. I had done a really really good episode with someone who I was saving for like a good episode, and like everything went wrong. Like the recording didn't record right. Everything went wrong. So we tried to re-record it, and the re-recording was just shit. And it just kind of I don't know. I think like sometimes when like it's almost like when you kind of want to quit, you find that reason. You're like, yeah, see, I knew it.
Yeah.
You kind of like you confirm it for yourself, and it's like, wow, what a pussy way out. Like that's weak, man. Like, but you let yourself go there, and I did. I'm not gonna like try to sugarcoat it. And I think that's when I stopped. And right now, I had set it up twice for a couple people, and one couldn't make it last second. The other one, the plan changed because I was supposed to come over his pad with my stuff and just like, do it there in person. It'd be fun again, right? But again, the plan changed. And it had its, it was more like when I met with him, because I still met with him, it was like very quick, like, oh, hey, what's up? Okay, here's your shit. All right, later, bro. Bye. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that fell through. And so it just kind of feels like I'm I'm in a position where if I let that just get to me, I'm gonna find a really easy way out because obviously I've had a couple of hurdles and they're not even terrible hurdles, right? But I've had a couple, and then that makes it really easy to be like, well, I tried, so that's it. No, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna push through. I feel like finding just finding it a way to do it. So um, it's gonna happen this month.
Okay.
This month I'm gonna get something out there. And I hate doing solo shit, but if push comes to shove, I'm gonna solo this month.
So, um, I think maybe also too, like, because like with off the mats, I mean, off the mats is kind of like it's jiu-jitsu, but it's really whatever.
Right.
It's like I think we mentioned jiu-jitsu once, like
Right.
briefly. So it's whatever. So I guess what I'm wondering with off the saddle is, are you exclusively keeping it in the realm of cycling, or is it does it have a little bit of leeway to kind of flow how you want to flow
You know,
away from that?
yeah, it was never really about that. It was more like what I do or what my interests are off the saddle. Like, so when I wasn't riding my bike, because I was a fanatic, right? And kind of also like pickleball, it's trickier to ride out here. And I would arguably say it's almost impossible to actually be riding the way I rode, like, for sport, right?
Hmm.
It's fun, but it's sport out here like that. It's not going to happen. You can't go down baseline in San Bernardino or like Waterman down in San Bernardino and be like, yeah, I'm just going to go get a couple 20 miles in. You're going to get run over. It's a little bit more wild out here. The traffic's a little bit more reckless. A lot of red lights get ran over here. It's just it's not like it's not going to happen, right? It's a bad idea. So I have to either try really, really hard to ride my bike and go places that are further away or a specific spot. And so my riding is down, but the podcast was never really supposed to be about all my rides. It's supposed to be like what I do off the saddle. And obviously riding was part of what I did in general. So it kind of found a way in it. Like it found a way to kind of make itself into the show. But lately it's not that. So I'm open to just making a podcast about podcasts. It's for me, it's kind of like cheaper than therapy. I want to talk to people. I want to talk about shit like that I like to talk about, maybe get some new opinions that I don't agree with or whatever, but just overall just talk to people and shit.
I think maybe I wonder, kind of a motivator there, or something to kind of keep the wheels, oiled, is doing a theme. Like, well, also, I guess it's like frequency of how often you want to drop the episodes. If you say twice a month, like with So You Like Horror, I do every first and third Friday,
Okay.
like without fail. If there's a fifth Friday, it gets a little weird because then I have that extra week where it's like, well, I'm not doing shit. Like, I feel weird. But like now, I think I'm gonna start sliding those bonus episodes in there with Phil and Chucky O if I could get them to do it. But if you're like, hey, I'm gonna do it twice a month, give yourself a theme for that twice a month. That way, it kind of keeps you. It gives you something to shoot for within that theme. And I know for me with off the mats specifically, because So You Like Horror, I have the built in my wife. It's like, oh shit, I don't have a guest. Sarah, pick up that mic.
Right.
She's like, I don't even fucking like this movie. That's perfect. That's exactly what we're going for. And action. But like with off the mats, what I tend to do is I grab a handful of people like in a chunk. So I'll do like 5 episodes.
Okay.
And it's a lot of work in that moment because I'll do like 5 episodes in like 3 days.
Oh wow.
And Then from that point, though, I'm not recording anything for 5 weeks essentially, or 4 weeks really, because that last week when I know I'm down, it's like, all right, I got to grab 4 more, 5 more, or
Okay.
even kind of in that run, I might get 1 or 2 just to kind of pepper down the line to
Okay.
buy me time. But off the mats, I never have a pause. Whereas like right now, you and I are recording right now, for
Wait,
episode
we are?
270. Like, huh, well, oh, that's what that camera is. Um, like we're recording for 275. I already have my guests for 276 and 77 already lined up. We're already scheduled and everything. And then 78 and 79, I've had some people suggest a couple folks to me. So I'll make that happen. And I have a teammate that I want to have on. So, it's like kind of like thinking it down that line, and then not just thinking it though, but putting it into action. Right. So it's like you
Right.
talk to the people. So that way, if something falls through,
You have a
something's
team
always
behind
there.
it. Yeah.
Cause
That's
like
true.
tonight, it like if like this didn't work out tonight, it's like, well, I'm recording on Saturday. So that's just going to be 275. And then I'll catch back up with you to be 276, even though I had another person going. But it's like, I'm going to still have time to fit you into the schedule,
Right.
because now there's that gap. But um, like I look at it, and I know like saying all that, it sounds like that's a lot, those chunks. But it's like, I know for me at least, doing it that way keeps me from like having any reason not to do it. Right. It's like if something falls through, I've got a backup plan. The horror podcast is the only one where, and I've not missed an episode, but it is the only
Right.
one where I do get a little bit like, God damn it, I don't want to do this. But because my wife will record with me, and those are fun because it's in
Right.
person, we can just put the episode out. There's no real edit. Although when we did that Dawn of the Dead episode, and she was talking shit about the chick who cared about the dog, and then she started talking shit about dogs, I was like, yo, you've got to
Oh
chill,
no,
because
no.
I am going to get a lot of hate, because I had a lot of friends that have dogs and love them dogs. And the way you just said, fuck them dogs, is the way I say, fuck them kids. And I'm just joking when I say, fuck them kids. I love my kid. I love, I used to be a teacher. When she said, fuck them dogs, I was like, oh, but I'm not going to edit it. That's your heat, not mine. Like, I'll fight for you, but understand, we gonna have a talk after I get done beating their asses. But no,
Sucker punch at Walgreens. You know why? It's like what?
I'm at Home Depot, I just get jumped. It's like, yo, what is
You
this
know
about? I'm just
why?
trying to buy a fucking faucet.
They
Like,
bark as they leave. You're like, what?
start giving that DMX. Arr, arr. Like, yo, what the fuck just happened? But nah, it's like I'm just trying to think of like ways of like kind of keeping you, on the level. And even if like, look, like I'll fill in. Let's do some shorts, some
Right.
short episodes, and kind of stack. You
Yeah,
know,
I like the idea. I'm definitely I'm feeling the motivation. I think more than anything. I think just doing this with you reminds me of how much fun it is, how therapeutic it is, and just it's overall enjoyable. I like doing it. I like doing it. I was on a little bit of a roll, not a major roll, but I was on a little bit of a roll. And
mhm.
I think the first time I did it, I put a lot of production into it. I was making um, like what was like video, like not video, but like an image for each episode. It was like very specific, right? Like,
Yeah,
and it was a lot. And I liked that it was a lot, but it was also a lot, right?
yeah,
And now the second time I was doing it, I felt like I had the right role because it was more like a little bit more raw, a little more just hit record. And, I didn't have a huge following, so I wasn't too worried about, you know, offending anyone or whatever because it didn't really need to be edited. It was just a straight shot. And so I think I'm going to go with more of a straight shot approach and kind
mhm,
of keep it simple and remember to do it for all the things I like about it and not the things that it shouldn't be stressful for me. This
yeah.
isn't that I don't have that kind of following where it should be stressful, right? Like I get nothing out of it besides what I get for myself.
I think also to asking yourself like your time, like how much like time do you want the episodes to be? That plays heavy into doing the horror podcast now because I try to keep those to an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and it has been a huge relief
Really?
just knowing that we're talking this much time. So I know I have to cut off. And it's not exactly like an hour on the dot, but it might be an hour 10, it might be
Right.
53 minutes, but I know that I only have so much that I'm going to offer. And that provides so much relief knowing that, like, okay, we're not like the Blair Witch episode. We went almost 2 hours, and granted, after the edit, it's probably going to be about an hour 20.
Right.
So, but
that's kind of cool. I think I'm gonna follow that too. Fuck it, why not? Let's try some shit, right? So yeah, I think maybe putting a time limit on it, and I think maybe for me, I think maybe that limit is, and not so much for me because I feel like I could legit be in a podcast that's 3 hours. I think we've done 3 hours.
we've done more.
Right. So I know I'm good with it, but I feel like more like to make the guest feel like it's more a little more inviting for the guest. Be like, yeah, half hour to an hour, like that'll be the money, the money time. I'm gonna try to do that. Get something quick, get some ideas out there, shoot some shit, and then just go from there. And if after a few episodes, we want to go a little longer, then we'll go a little longer.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of my thing. Is like I have like I tell most guests, especially if they haven't been on off the mats, I tell them like I try to do an hour, but in reality, you're the guest. It's your time. So if you want to take it, a little longer, just know that my full cutoff is going to be 90.
Mm-hmm.
And even with that, hey, we might get to 90 minutes and we might be on a roll. But
Right.
understand that I'm going to try to be wrapping us up soon. With the horror podcast, I do try to say, like, I try to stick to that hour, especially when it's
Yeah,
me and my wife, because we're just like, okay, there's a certain point where she's fed up with me, and I'm like, okay, hey, so we got to stop because she's got a knife.
If we're both doing this, there's no parents right now.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, this is not okay. I need an adult because I'm scared. But yeah, like I mean, with Colompton, we just kind of let roll because it's a happy hour podcast. So a
Yeah.
happy hour is 3 hours, in a lot of places. Steve keeps telling me, no, happy hour is an hour. It's like, you clearly have
What?
never been to happy hour.
Yeah. No. That
It's like,
that's not that doesn't make sense at all.
it was like, yeah, boys, like, settle down. You're like, we were doing a happy hour podcast. You gotta know what happy hour is. But we usually run after 3, and I've actually been trying to cut that down just because, like, I mean, like, our numbers do well with that, but I still try to cut it down because it's like, look, I do want to be reasonable,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of time there is a lot of bullshit like conversation going on where, because what I do when we do Colompton is I have a dry erase board and I mark on the board topics. I text myself things throughout the week, and then once I get to Friday night, I write those things on the board. When Steve arrives, I'll say, do you have anything to add? He'll say, we'll figure it out. I'm like, I don't want to just figure it out because that means we'll be recording for 3 hours. I want to
Right.
have concise things so that way I know, all right. So like this past week, we talked about the finale of Vikings, and that turned into a really long conversation because we got into a deep talk about religion and ego.
Mm.
And um so that went a little longer, but it was at least on the board, so it's allotted. But if, like, suddenly he says, hey, let's talk about Halloween costumes, and that's not on the board, I don't want to spend more than 3 minutes
Nope.
on that
No.
because
We got to
it's not
circle
there.
back next episode. I'll put it on the board.
Yeah, like the board is important. So it's like a lot of times, like with these podcasts, it may not seem like it's organized, but there is some organization to it. Like for
Right.
tonight, this one, there was no organization, to be quite honest,
No. No.
because it was like, I'm just going to get on here and talk to my friend and do some catching up. But a lot of times I do have outlines now,
Right.
and the outlines will really just kind of keep me on schedule. So, if I'm doing kind of an interview style, in the vein of conversation, I am going to look at what I have on this outline. I might say, start steering that conversation towards like competition conversation, or, whatever it may be, what's your post, fight, nutrition, looking like,
Right.
your recovery, but, just steering it, but it stays in the vein. Whereas like something like this, it's like, okay, we're just going to talk some shit. Like, let's find out what's going on. We got to the podcast part now. So it's like, okay, all right, we've got a vehicle. It sounds like we're organized. We're not,
Yeah,
but
no,
we're
no.
brainstorming. So, it's how it works. But I think for you, and even what you suggested to me, the 10-minute shorts,
It's not the worst
even try that
idea.
with you,
It's not the worst
you know,
idea. No, like I said, I got to maybe practice what I'm preaching here because, yeah, I think I feel like I'm gonna leave this with some good ideas, and of course that kind of like renewed vigor or like kind of like a recharge kind of feel like, yeah, I'm gonna go out there tomorrow and feel like let's fucking conquer the podcast world again. So we'll see. I feel more optimistic right now than I did before this podcast about my podcast. So I
good.
appreciate that from you, man. I thank you for like, being a friend and motivating me, especially because it sounds silly, but sometimes we need motivation for things we want to do.
That's a fact. Um, I always think about when, like when I have those periods where it's like, okay, I got to re up those guests. And I think about that. That's where it does get tricky. Like you said, we need that motivation. And fortunately, like I always say about where I train at, we have a lot of great grapplers at that gym. So I have a pool of people I can pull from, and they're all fantastic. Everyone that I've approached, everyone but one. I had one coach who declined, and I respect it.
Yeah,
It's fine. I get he's a very private person, so it's like I understand, and he's someone I would really love to talk to just because he's funny. He speaks in movie quotes like myself. So it's like, oh
nice.
my God, like we would have a blast, but he doesn't want to do it. And I was like, that's fine.
Yeah,
But for the most part, it's like when I do feel that lack of motivation, I think about like, okay, well, I got teammates, and I'll shoot someone a message on the Slack, and be like, hey, would you be interested in being a guest? And in that kind of, as soon as I get the yes, or like, oh, dude, I'd be honored. Dude, when I hear a teammate say, yo, I'd be honored, and I listen to your pod, I'm like, oh my
that's
God,
rad.
like
That's rad.
really? But then I have to think, but I was like, was I talking shit about them recently? Because like
Oh,
I gotta make sure, because sometimes I'll be talking shit. Like I'm like,
oh well.
yo, this motherfucker wrist locked me the other day, and let me tell you,
Well, say
like
something if it's not true, right?
I did something to his tires. It's like wait a minute, I wrist locked him. My car was driving funny the other day, but yeah, it's like sometimes I'll get hit with that like demotivation. And it's like I'll talk to a teammate, and it's like, all right, cool. Like but that's just enough to get me rolling to get those next few episodes. So that way now I gotta bundle again. I I think unfortunately I missed a boat with my grandfather.
Right.
Um he's got dementia right now, and it's not looking great, unfortunately. And I always joke about my grandfather because I say he is the smartest person I've ever met. Like it's like easily. And I always also explain though, I feel weird talking to him
Hmm.
because I'm intimidated because it's
Oh,
like he's
okay.
so smart. I'm like, I always feel like, yo, I feel like anything I say, he's probably thinking, oh, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That's such a
And
classic. That's such a classic father figure kind of feeling, though. Like because
yeah.
I think I think most guys don't really give a shit about what other men think about them,
Oh yeah.
except for the men they care about, or like that father figure, or that little brother, or it's just there's certain people where like, for me, it's my nephew, right? I so care. Like I love talking to him, but I'm also very like I never feel more like self judged than when I'm talking to my nephew because I just love him so much, and I remember him as a 5-year-old, and I just wouldn't want to say something to like move him astray. It's like like he's a grown ass man now. He's gonna about to get married, right? Like obviously times,
Yes.
but at the same time, it's like I still get that weird feeling of like I want to do right. I want to do right by this kid. Like I want to make sure I'm a good example for this kid. It's like he doesn't even look at me as an example at all anymore. Maybe he did as a kid, right? But not anymore, right? So it's wild because whether it's a father figure or like a little brother or even an older brother, there are certain like kind of like can't control it kind of feelings that you're
Yeah.
gonna get.
Well, I always feel awkward when I talk to him. It's like I guess I use work as an example. I
Okay.
don't talk a lot at work because I say the most unhinged shit, not realize like, ooh, that's probably not okay to say at work.
Yeah.
Um, but like with my grandfather, it's kind of the same thing. It's like I think I don't know how to respond. So I
Mhm.
just say like things on autopilot and it's like, ooh, that's super cringy. So and then that's what kind of kept me from having him on the pod. I sat down with my grandmother last November and it was a great time. Like
Oh,
I learned a whole lot about the process in which they decided to adopt me.
that's
I
wild.
learned a lot about her upbringing coming from the Bahamas to Florida to DC to Michigan and then back down to Maryland. All these different things. And I was like, I really want to talk with my grandfather next to get his story. And then I want to talk with the two of them to get their story
Hmm.
together. Unfortunately, by this point, the dementia has started to really take hold. And now it, it's it's at a point now where that conversation is never going to be had. It's not even so much even about the podcast. It's really like I've never really sat and even when I sat with my grandma, I realized I never spoken with my grandma. Like I didn't know her
It,
story. And
it's pretty wild, man. It's wild that you can live with someone your whole life, talk to them every day, and never really talk to them, like
yeah,
actually talk to them.
well, I
It's
think
always
that's
saying things, right? It's like, hey,
yeah,
how was your day? Or like, hey, I need this, or hey, you need me to do that, or hey, can I go here? And you're talking every day, but you're actually not really having a conversation. Like you're not just
yeah.
like real talk, I guess, like a real conversation. It's weird that that could happen, but I think it
Well,
happens a
like
lot.
I think that's kind of the thing about this podcast though too. Is like I have teammates. Like hey, let's sit down and talk. I would like to because like when you're on the mats, and when you're leaving the mats, it's the typical, good roll, or you might help each other with some pointers, drill some things, but you never really have a conversation to know each other. So, being able to do that with teammates, family, friend, even friends, to be quite honest. I have friends that I've been friends with for many years, and it's like, do we really know each other though? Do you know me? Like,
Oh
'cause
no, yeah,
I know folks that assume they know me because I get on here and Colompton and so you like horror. I say a lot of really wild stuff. And people think, oh, that's Dante. It's like I say the silly things that, and they are true, but it's like I'm giving
right.
you what I want you to have. But there's a lot of like stuff deep down that's like, well, and that's human though. But it's like,
No, that's a
um,
coping mechanism, and my wife has called me out on that. It's like you're so quick to volunteer some information that some people would not want to share about themselves. I'm like, who cares? Whatever happened. Yeah, I was an
yeah,
orphan. Yeah, yeah, my mom died. Yeah,
mhm,
whatever. Like I'll give that out there because now it can't hurt me almost.
correct.
Like it's
Yes.
easy. It's already shot out there. Like what else are you gonna say? I already said it myself. Fuck you. Well, like what do you what can you say now? Right. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like a defense mechanism in a way. And I genuinely feel that like so much of conversation is just talking, and so little of it is actually like like saying words, not talking to each other. Like so much of it's just saying words, not
Hmm.
talking to each other. That's a better way to say it. Because the way you were explained about your grandmother, it kind of reminded me of a guy who I met him randomly at a random bicycle event. It's like a call it like a open open mat, right? I met him kind of like that, like an open mat, right? It was a random meet on a Thursday, ride a bike, have a beer after type thing. He was fast, I was fast. We clicked. We're like, we should train. Let's train. We started training. We talked every day. Literally 5 days a week. We would talk for like 5 hours because that's how long the bike rides were. And every day we would talk for 5 hours. And then one day we were in a car with his parents going to a race, and we were just sitting there talking. I didn't know his last name. I didn't know he had a sister who was sitting next to us. Like, I didn't know where he lived. I didn't know shit about him. Like, we had just talked. And I actually didn't really ask him, about what, oh, how'd you grow up? And what do you do for a living? I didn't know anything. I didn't even know he was in college. I didn't even know his age. Like, I knew so little about this guy. And yet, for like 6 months, for at least 5 hours a day, 5 times a week, I hung out with him and talked to him. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing.
I mean, that's kind of how it goes, though. It's like you said, like we're saying words, but we're just going through the motions most of the time. And that's not to say that it's not genuine, right?
Oh, no,
Like
no.
you and I, we talk, and I always explain it. So like last time you called me, 2 weeks ago, and I was just like, who are you on the phone with? I was like, oh, it's just Manuel. Like, we're catching up. So, oh, okay, cool. And so, it's not like, we don't talk, but it's also one of those things like we talk and it's like, well, like, and we're pretty open. Like, I feel like we know a good deal about each other.
Right.
But there's still, those things like I was trying to tell Steve is like, I'm okay with talking on the phone. I'm okay with doing these podcasts and talk. So I need to hear the voice. Like,
right.
I say, like, all right, yeah, it's me and Manuel. We talk all the time. We text all the time. And it's like, but if I'm like, yo, Manuel, how you feeling? What's going on? And I need to hear that voice.
Right. There's a connection to it. There's definitely a connection to it. I wonder how much of like the youth doesn't feel that. Or you know what? Maybe it's the opposite, because honestly, a lot of the younger kids, they're about the FaceTime. Like, it's like they're always on FaceTime and they're not even looking at each other sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, my kids do that. They'll be on like FaceTime and they'll hold the phone next to their face and they're talking, but they're not looking at the phone. And then they'll glance over at them. It's almost like it's a weird socially accepted thing that's very generational, because I'm not really a FaceTime person, but I kind of get the appeal. So I don't know. It's different though. It's different.
So when I do therapy, we do it remotely. I don't look at the screen when I talk to my therapist. I don't look like, but I also don't really do eye contact with most folks. So that's a thing too. And that's something else she and I will address in my next session in 2 weeks. But like the FaceTime thing, I noticed my daughter does that with one of her friends. And I think mainly because they have iPads, so they don't have phones. But it's kind of a similar thing. Like they do the FaceTime, but it's like they're playing. It's like they have the FaceTime going, but they're doing other things while talking, but they're not necessarily looking at each other on the FaceTime. And the thing is, I know, again, for me with it, I just want to hear the voice, because if you say you're okay, I can gauge if you're telling me the truth or not. It's like, yo, what's going on? How you feeling? I'm all right. Like, versus if you text that to me, I mean, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But if you're like, yeah, I'm all right, it's like, you don't sound all right. Like,
I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. Sad emoji.
Yeah. It's like, sad face. I'm good. It's like
ellipsis.
It's like, that's a little dramatic. But yeah, it's like these days, especially, it's just like I like to talk to my friends to make sure, everybody's good, but also too, I like to know about my people,
Absolutely.
And even though, like I say a lot of shit on these podcasts, and it's like, it's true, but it's like, yo, you're offering like weird information that, that seems like deep. But it's like, yeah, but I'm not. Another thing though is like, most folks don't know my fucking name. So it's like, y'all know all this information. Y'all don't even know my name. Like, and the few that do know my name, it's like, okay, that's privileged information. It's like, well, why don't you, put your real name out there? Well, why should I?
Right. What's crazy is at work, we had like a buy sell. So like our company got sold to a bigger company, right? And it came out, my legal name came out. And I was kind of like, oh, fuck. I realized it's going to happen, isn't it? Like, because there's people who I've known there for like 5 years who have no idea what my first name is. Like, it's wild. That's just, and that was in a professional like side of it. It's just I've always done that. Like I once worked for LA County, the county of Los Angeles in California, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just working along and doing my shit and just trying to move up, right? And I was really young, so I was like super eager, and I really want to show myself and make something of myself, because I was in a position where this was a good opportunity for me. And somehow or another, I caught a nickname early on, and that nickname stuck, and it was Donnie. And it like, why Donnie? Most people didn't even know why my nickname was Donnie, but they didn't even know it was a nickname. They just called me Donnie. They're all, hey, Donnie from from heating, Central Heating. Yeah, he's Central Heating plant. Donnie. Oh, he's moving to pitches. Donnie's moving to pitches, right? Like, it was kind of like, it was so common that eventually I got recognized for something I did well, and my stupid plaque from the LA County, Los Angeles in California said Donnie in my last name. Like, I was like, what the hell? I'm like, that's gone too far. Like, damn nickname is forever memorized or memorialized on a plaque, and it's my nickname.
Yeah. So, I got teammates that call me Jake, and I'm confused. It's like, who the fuck is Jake? Oh, I'm Jake.
You are Jake.
That's me. And my family calls me Jake though too. Like, that's and there's no rhyme or reason to it. I've been called Jake since I was a baby, and that's not my name. I don't even have like any of those letters in my first name. So it's like, where did we get Jake from? Like, y'all are fucking weird for that. But
I love that my name is Mannuel, but even my family says it wrong.
Like that's the fucking. Also, no, the crazy thing is, like, so when like family gatherings, my wife calls me just Dante, and my family like I remember the first time she said that, my grandfather was like, "Who the fuck is that?" It's like, because even like Dante is like a nickname technically,
right?
So it's just like that's just a weird thing. So again, like, when folks actually know my name, it's like people that I've worked with like don't know my name. People that I train with don't know my name. There's some folks that know the full name, and we joke about it and everything, but
it's always tongue in cheek. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just like, you know what, I'm the kind of person. It's like, if you ask me the question, I will give you the answer straight up, right. But it's never asked, so I just kind of run with it. And when we bought this house, I can't remember what email address I used, but I had on the email address Jake Dante. Mm-hmm. So all the papers were signed with my government name. That was fine. But the realty company sent me a check.
Oh no.
To Jake Dante.
Oh no.
Oh no, I still cashed it. No, I got my money. But I was like, when I first saw it, I panicked for me. I was like, oh no. Like, how do I handle this?
I'm telling you, man, I was getting plaques with the wrong name. I knew that shit had to nip that in the bud. I was like, this is going too far now.
It's like, okay, y'all got to chill.
Y'all need to use a different fake name. Don't get me wrong. Don't use my actual legal name. Use this other name. It's easier to convince people. If I got to show
at least this has a reason. Like, this one is just some shit people are calling me. But yeah, it's all, at the end of the day, it's just part of the game, right?
Yeah. And I think that's like our kind of farewell full circle. Like, I think I'm looking forward to just like, getting to know people on people's terms. And if it's knowing Jake, or it's knowing, Manuel or Mannuel or whatever, like, I just want to, get some people on the podcast. I'm going to do my best to have an idea. I'm going to be open to shorter episodes. And I'm going to try to load up a few of them so it doesn't feel like I have a lot of pressure. So full circle here, man. Full circle. I'm feeling it.
Fair enough. Well, on that note, let's go ahead and wrap this up and get the fuck out of here. I got some stuff to run by you afterwards in a sec anyway, but let's go ahead and finish up. So, Mannuel, as always, my friend, thank you. Before we get out of here, shout outs, mentions, anything you got for us?
Just basically, I love you, boys. I love your wife. And I do have a Instagram for my podcast, which is Off the Saddle Podcast, all one word. So go give me a follow. Maybe I'll get the first new follow in like a year because I've been
so that's
MIA.
what counts.
Yeah, so check that out. That's the best place probably to find me at. So Instagram, Off the Saddle Podcast, all one word. And I'll post some stuff out there, and I'll share it and all that stuff. And who knows, maybe you heard this conversation with us, you dug it, and said, "Hey, let's share a word." And I'll call you Billy or Jake or whatever you want.
Hey, you give the name, and I'll call it.
There you go.
That's how it goes. And thank you for those words. And as always, to you guys, the listeners, thank you. If y'all got any questions, concerns, criticisms, anything, feel free to reach out. You can find me at bjj.wiki on Instagram or Off the Mats Podcast as well on Instagram. It's weird how at the beginning of the show, my energy was like, what's up, yo? Now I'm like, I got that pep. We've been rolling out here for 90. So I'm on it now. Let's go do some other podcasts. Let's do 6 So You Like Horror episodes.
Fuck it, let's
rock and roll. But thank you again to all you as listeners. I want to give a big shout out to our crew over there at Nerd Rage Radio. Bobby, Chris, Joe, Marilyn, Phil, Ricky, Tiki, Farrell, Chucky O, anybody else that's over there. They like the Wu-Tang over there. There's a new member every week, and everybody's like fucking dropping albums and podcasts. I don't know what the fuck to say, but thank you to them. If it weren't for Nerd Rage, I wouldn't be doing a podcast. So thank you to that group of gentlemen over there.
Thank you. And I love that you do. So thank you, Nerd Rage.
Yeah, if y'all fucks with the podcast, thank them. If y'all hate it, blame them, because they don't let me talk over there. I haven't been on it's been a year now, so I got to get back over there. Just work schedules and vehicles. So
maybe for episode 575.
Hey, I don't even know what number they're on. Right. I did 500 with them. So it's been less than a year because 500 was in the spring. So yeah, but either way, Nerd Rage, we love them. Also, I want to shout out my other podcast, So You Like Horror. If you're into scary movies, go check it out. This episode is coming out on the 8th of September. So with that being what it is, what just released over there on So You Like Horror is the Blair Witch Project episode. And we talk about that because like I'm located in Maryland. So when that movie came out, that shit hit home because a lot of us was like, yo, that shit is legit real. And it rocked us until I read a Rolling Stone article. I was like, oh, it's not real. And I told my friends, and they're like, no, it is real. My dad remembers it. I was like, no. Like, there's an interview with the kids.
What a beautiful time to be alive, where the internet wasn't really a thing. So it was still so believable. It was still so believable.
Yeah, it's like it was a time where anything from the internet was real, whereas like now anything on the internet is like, yeah, definitely not real. So just what a time. But go check that out. So You Like Horror is going to be episode 95, and that find us also on Instagram at So You Like Horror, all were separated by underscores. You can find a podcast anywhere that you're listening to podcasts, especially this one. And last but not least, I would like to thank our guest today and the host of the Off the Saddle podcast, Mr. Mannuel C. Thank you, Mannuel, again for making the time and having this great conversation. Just being that dude is like we talk away from the podcast. Right. This is always like it re-energizes me. I'm like, ooh, like it's about to be midnight over here, so I can't really have this kind of energy, to be quite honest. Damn. Like I should actually be whining now, but now I'm like energized. I'm about to go hop on the treadmill and fucking go run. Watch 3 episodes of The Sopranos. Like what the fuck is wrong with this dude?
Maybe I'll get motivated and fucking join you. I'm down. Fuck it, let's go.
And my wife comes home in fucking 6 hours. Like, what the fuck are you doing? like, why is it sweaty down here? It's like,
can you believe what she said to him?
Like, can you believe what they did to her? Like, she didn't deserve that. It's like, all right, go to work. But thank you, and dude, like, I'm looking forward to what you're going to do with the podcast upcoming, and whenever you want, come through. We got you here. We're about to do episode 300 soon, so we'll probably get you about 325.
All right, appreciate it. I like it. And again, thank you for having me, man, and thank you so much for kind of reigniting that flame of that podcast fire again. Because I kid you not, every time I do it, I remember why I love it. So it's kind of like working out. You don't work out for a while, then you do, and you're like, fuck, I like this. Why don't I do this more often? So
absolutely, man, absolutely. And again, to the listeners, thank you. We love you guys. You know what it is. You guys keep listening, and we're going to definitely keep making these shows. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye.
Deeper with it. Now let me sing a song.